Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mastering Life Shorts 23, Cynefin. So today I'm going to be talking about a framework that you can use mainly at work, but you could also use in your home life. And it will help you to identify the characteristics of the situation you're in and how best to respond to that situation. Now, if you're watching this on live, I have sent you a pre-work and I'm hoping that you've done it. If you're watching this on YouTube, on the replay, then it may be the moment to just stop the video after I explain what this is all about and do this, because we're going to use each of those examples going forwards. So what I've asked people to do is to take each of those 8 situations and decide whether it would be very easy to make a decision about what to do, or very hard, or in between, and which ones you have to act really fast and which ones you act much slower, and put them on a continuum. So if you're on YouTube, pause the video now, and if you can put those on those 2 continuums. Now, Cynefin is not a framework that's built on a 2x2 matrix like this, like so many business models. However, I find it easier to understand by thinking of it as on this matrix, and then you can expand out from that. So I'm going to talk through those 8 situations, from the easiest decision to make to the hardest decision to make. And at the same time, we're going to place it on acting slowly to acting fast continuum, going vertically. Now, there is no right or wrong answer, and you can argue in all ways, but I just want you to get a broad idea of what's going on with this framework by looking at this. So, deciding what to wear in the morning, you can do that really easily, and you can do that fast. If you're responding to a complaint from a customer, generally it's an easy decision what to do next, and you can act fairly fast. Simple stuff. If you are a buyer for a company and you're choosing between 2 suppliers, it might take a little bit more time, and it's a medium hard decision. Taking something like planning a marketing and advertising campaign takes longer, but there's several ways you can go. So there's decisions to be made. There's different routes. It's not particularly hard though. You can choose one or the other. You have time to do it, and then you choose. If you're a doctor and you've got a psychiatric patient in front of you, there are lots of different drug and treatment regimes. Therefore, you might want to try one, see what happens, move on to another. It's going to be harder to get the right regime for the right person. There's also lots of other factors. So there might be other conditions that you need to take into account, and there might be drug interactions. So you want to take your time over that, and it becomes more complicated. If a lorry drives into the side of your house, that's really hard to know the first thing you have to do, you have to act really fast and get out. But what to do next is hard. Direct to a company launching into a new country, really hard to know what to do. And you're going to act slowly to make sure you get it right. That sort of thing costs a huge amount of money. So you want to make sure that you've really gone the right way. And then the hardest and fastest is probably the security guard running after someone with a knife. What do? You need to make split-second decisions, and you really don't know what the outcome is going to be. Now, that in a way is Cynefin, is those 4 quadrants. However, it's not quite set out like that in the model itself. So the Cynefin model itself has predictable world and unpredictable world, short time frame that requires a fast response, and long time frame that requires a methodical response. So what Cynefin does is it divides things into these 4 quadrants and says, if you are in one of these quadrants, if you've got a situation, maybe that you've got a project at work or a situation at home, you recognize the quadrants you're in, and then you act in a different way just depending on the quadrant you're in. So the 4 quadrants are named simple, if it's fast and predictable; chaotic, if it's fast and you have no idea what's going on, unpredictable; complicated, if it's predictable, but you can take time to do something about it; and complex, if it's unpredictable and you've got a long time to deal with it. So as I say, each of these quadrants has got a different way that the model suggests you deal. So let's start with the simple. So this is predictable, short time frame, fast response. The way here is you sense what's going on, you categorize the situation, and then you respond accordingly. Because you've got models, there is best practice in the simple quadrant. So deciding what to wear in the morning, I look out the window, I say, is it hot? Is it cold? Is it raining? I categorize today's a wet, cold day. Therefore, I'm going to wear a jacket. Salesperson responds to a customer. Is this a real complaint that I should listen to? Yes. We broke the product, or the product was broken and didn't work. Therefore, I'm going to apologize and offer a refund. There are routes you can plan for this very, very simply. And this is the kind of thing that call centers with scripts work to very, very well. On the other end of the scale, you've got chaotic, which is unpredictable, short time frame. So here you just have to act. There is no way of knowing what's going to happen. You don't know what data you need. So if a lorry is crushing into the side of your house, you're going to get out. You then look back and then you start to try and analyze the data, but you don't know what's important. So is the noise important? Is the smell of gas important? Is the electricity important? Can you tell about the structural integrity? So you need to make really fast decisions, and you don't have time to develop a strategy. It becomes a crisis management situation, really destructive, very, very expensive. Someone running into a building with a knife, you need to make a decision really fast. What are you going to do about that? You don't have time to gather the data about, is this a lone person? Are there other people involved? You're going to be running after that person or screaming for other people to get out of the way, or looking down, or calling the police, or anything. You're going to be doing that really fast. And it's only after time can you do something better to have a more measured response. Again, can be very, very destructive and expensive. So everything we do is trying to keep out of the chaotic. Complicated is the quadrant that most businesses believe that they are working in most of the time. So you have a long time frame. You can spend some time thinking about things, and it is a predictable world. So if you are a buyer for a company and you can choose between 2 products. Now here, it isn't simple. It isn't, I have to get this product. There is genuine choice in the complicated world. And if you talk to different experts, one could say go this way, one could say go this way. In the case of this, you could say, well, actually, I'm going to take into account which of the suppliers provides the best service, which one supports our company values. If we were saying we were working with this one, would our customers respond well? What's the best price? All of these things. So you have multiple pieces of information that come together, and then you analyze and decide what's the best for your company. Now, your company will say one thing, another company will say another thing. So in this case, there might be good practice rather than best practice, because your company might say, actually, we're all about price and pushing down the price. Another company might say, we are run by our ethics and our morals and our environmental response. Therefore, we have to choose this product over that one. And they're both perfectly correct responses. A marketer just deciding an advertising plan. Again, you can put together lots of information. What are your customers' needs? What are the key messages? Who are our customers? Where do our customers go for information? What music and visuals and everything else goes for our brand? So you can make decisions, you put all of that together, and then you respond, and you've got time to do it. Now, I said that most companies think that they're living in the complicated world. And a lot of time I coach people who are working in the complicated world, and I'll give some examples in a minute. But there are other people who think they're living in the complicated world when actually they're living in the complex world. No, the complex world is where there really isn't a linear, this plus this makes this outcome. So in this case, you have to go and feel around and sense what's going on before responding. And often there's an iterative process in this. So in the psychiatric doctor that I was talking about, there is no simple response. You cannot know the answer for a particular person because every person is so unique. There is no way that you could say, right, if the person is white and male and in their 50s and this and this and this, then you give them this drug. You have to try different regimes with different people. So that's why there's often an iterative process. With the company going into a new country, this is really, really dear to my heart because in my last job, I was working in an international company that was acting like they were in a complicated world, that they could go off and do some market research, learn about the products that the customers needed, and then come back with a solution. They did exactly that. They went to the United Arab Emirates. They did some market research with a few customers or potential customers. They came up with a product back in the UK, and then they sent this product off from everywhere from Egypt to China. And I went around to all these places in Egypt and China and Indonesia and Thailand and Malaysia. And all the people I was working with went, this isn't quite right for us. Now, in every jurisdiction, what wasn't quite right was different. The problem was all those decisions had been made up front, and they were so big and so expensive to come back from those decisions that the central team ended up blaming everyone else apart from the people who'd made the decisions beforehand. What they should have done is what a lot of startups are doing now, is started a lean process where you put out what's known as a minimum viable product and you go, okay, let's try this. Does this work? If not, let's try something else and then iterate it to make it better and better and better. So we've got these four quadrants. The important thing is you recognize fully which quadrant you're in, and often it's dependent on, well, it's dependent on the time scale that you're working under and how predictable the outcomes are. Does A always equal B? Now, lots of us do lots of things in the simple world. What to eat, when to pay our taxes. That's really simple. You can work that out for yourself. That's easy. If you're in the chaotic world, good luck to you. There are people who thrive on chaos, but there are few and far between. Disaster response. What you do if you're in your company, if there's a stock market crash, massive issues. Now, I coach people who generally are in the complicated or complex world. So people who I've coached in the complicated world are people, for example, who want to reduce stress and don't really know the best way. Now, there are a million ways of reducing stress. So I will work with the person, I will sense which is going to work with you, and then we'll find that route. Performance management. I've talked to some of my clients about when they've got bad performing members of staff. What do they do about that? There are different routes again, but you can choose one, and generally it's not going to be a problematic answer. Designing a website, there's good practice, there's bad practice, there's okay practice, and there's everything in between. It's complicated, but you can come up with an answer and it'd be fine. Different experts would say different things. The complex world is the one that people really, they try to act like it's complicated. They try to do everything up front and then wonder why they're not going anywhere. So dating or breaking up with people, they try to plan everything in advance and then it all goes horribly wrong when they realize that the world isn't as they expected it to be. Career change. People can't plan for career change in quite the same way, because you have to say, okay, what is working at this moment in time, and hone your CV, your adverts, your letters, all of these things, and also go off and look for what skills are needed, etc. More and more people are realizing opening a business under the old model of I'm going to have a pre-packaged business, go boom, this is it, is just not going to work. You do a lot of throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks, and moving forwards. And with sex workers, I've developed online personas with people who have really said, okay, I want to go out there and be something. So how do I do that? And you try, see what works, see what doesn't work, see what people respond to. It's very much about probing in the moment, but you can do that over time. You don't have to make all decisions up front. What you do need to know in the complex world is you don't want to burn bridges. Now, all of these things I can work with you one-to-one with coaching. If you'd like to have an experienced coaching session, then please get in touch with me via my website, or you can download this week's worksheet, englishleathermaster.com/mastering-life-shorts. Download the worksheet with the password not simple, and it will talk through the model and allow you to look at how you've used the model without even knowing it in the past, and how you can use it in the future. There are other bits of this model, I should say, that I have not included in this presentation. It's quite a big model. And there's definitely webinars and other resources online that if this sings to you, then you could go and have a look at those as well. Next week, I'm going to be talking about accountability, both you giving accountability to other people, holding yourself accountable, and helping people hold you accountable. So I look forward to speaking to you then. Goodbye.